And we're going to talk all sorts of other things. So for the DA voting, we will need the delegates there. So if you need some explanation about how to vote and the process of voting, any help with the Lime survey, that kind of thing. So we'll go through that. If you're not interested in the voting and you're not a delegate, then feel free to take a break at that time, which is why we show kind of both options. And then later on today, we have Walter Cairn that's going to share about EU sustainability reporting and all of the changes in the regulations. And Dr. Monica Kulka is going to share about the Matrix updates, the Matrix 5.1 and Matrix 6.0. Just note that all of the sessions will be translated today from the main plenary. The Matrix session with Monica is only in English, just so that you're aware. So if you go to that breakout, it will be in English with no translation. Then we have Oliver, who's going to share about the implementation of Econ Good in city-owned businesses. Then Danielle is going to give us an update on the label and branding. And then we hear more detail from Raymond about Greenpeace Luxembourg and the implementation of Econ Good and how they're working with the movement. And then we kind of do a wrap up and closing, share our experiences, and finally have an element to like an hour towards the end where we can connect on a very personal level. And we can talk about the things that have come up in the day or any new topics. Feel free to connect with whatever comes up and whatever's present for you in that moment. So yeah, that's the day that we have today. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Daniela. Thank you. Oh, I should say before I do that, if you have any questions, could you write them in the chat in English, please? And also, if you're speaking, to speak slowly. Now, I have to tell myself this because if for non-native speakers, it's much easier if you speak slowly to understand and follow, and it's also easier for our translators to keep up. Thank you. Daniela, over to you.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to all of you from me too. I'm happy to see you all again for a second day. So let's imagine we'd still be in the good old days of this conference. We're all in one room and we have again a podium up front and we're asking Alma Spribille to please come join me. Alma, where are you? Please walk up front.
I'm here.
Okay. Oh, there you are. Wonderful. I couldn't see you at first. I was like, there's so many pictures here. Wonderful. Glad to see you. Welcome. So for the people who do not know who is Alma, let me briefly introduce you. And then, of course, you're more than welcome to add some more words to yourself if I forget anything. So Alma is one of the founders and managers of WEtell. And WEtell is a sustainable mobile phone provider. And they have finished their second Common Good report. And Alma is also on the executive board of the German Sustainable Economy Association. So Alma, maybe you still want to add a few more words, what I've forgotten.
The only thing I would like to add is because yesterday you spoke about policy and politics as well, if I understood this correctly, that I'm also on the board of, I'm on an advisory board for the German Minister for Economy Affairs and Climate Protection. So that's something else I do, which also is a big impact for economy of common good, but sustainability in general.
Okay, great. It's wonderful that you're so active in so many different fields and really try to change our world from your point of view and from your position. Now, as far as I know, you have a little something prepared for us to share with us, and then we will also leave enough time so that people can ask whatever questions they have.
Yes, exactly. I thought it's easier if I present some slides, I make it brief to make it easier to ask questions maybe after that. So I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yes, please.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so thanks for the opportunity. And I really want to say just a few words about WEtell so that you understand how we implement the economy of common good and yeah, what might be special questions for us or where we can help with something. WEtell was the idea. Sorry that some words are in German. I couldn't change that. We founded the company because we are interested in climate protection and data security and also in fairness and transparency. And that's why we founded the company in the first place. And to do that, we chose mobile service providing because communication is a very important issue. We have the technology to be more sustainable, but we also need to communicate about it and change something. And there wasn't an alternative. This is the impression of our company. So we are based in Freiburg. We are about 30 people. You can see them on the picture. We have like 24,000 customers. And one thing that is important for the economy of the common good, especially, is that we are value-based financed. So we don't have any venture capital or something in our company. And all the ownership of the company is secured for the founders and stuff.
Alma, could you please slow down a little bit so the translators in the background can keep up with you?
Sorry. We are founded 5 years ago in 2019, went to the market 1 year later, and we had our break even just last year. Why sustainability in mobile communications, or how do you even combine mobile communication with sustainability, is that we invest in climate protection so that we construct solar power plants in Germany, and we compensate the usage of the mobile grid in Germany so that our customers actually phone and call and serve climate neutral. We also take care of the customer data, which is a special topic in Germany, but in the EU in general, I would say that you own your own data. And for fairness and transparency, it's, for example, that all our contracts are monthly cancelable, and we don't have any traps. Like, you don't get any bonuses if you start your contract today instead of in a month, because we don't believe in trapping people into contracts. And that's a kind of fairness that's very well shaped. Those are all stuff I could just promise you, but we don't want that to make as a promise, but we want to prove that we're actually doing this. And to prove this, the economy of the common good is one very important instrument, because this makes it more than a promise. It's very transparent. Everyone can read the report. I think it's like 120 pages. This is pretty long, but it's about transparency. So you could look into our numbers, even if you don't do it. And that changes the way decisions are made, because you always think about that you would also need to be able to talk publicly about what you are doing. And I think that's one of the most important parts of the economy of the common good in general for companies. Our balancing is done in a tool I would recommend highly. It's called Good Balancer. Instead of writing like a very long word sheet, you are using a tool where you can jump right to the point you're actually working on. For example, I'm responsible for finances. So one of my colleagues says, hey, I need some input for finances. I can work on that chapter specifically, and someone can make comments. It's very easy, and especially if we can use it over time. We just finished our second report, and we used the first report and edited it so that also the external auditor could look at our changes, which makes it more efficient for us and for him as well. One thing more we made, that it's not only a promise, because it's one thing that maybe is the only downside of the economy of common good, in my opinion, is that it's not legally binding. You can just do it and you can stop doing it, theoretically. we wouldn't do that, but you could. And because that's possible, we also went into a kind of ownership where we gave 1% of the company parts to a foundation, which secures that we can never sell this company or, yeah, privatize any profits. Sorry. This is just an idea that you have, like, retailers everywhere in Germany. We're only in Germany, and this is our tariffs. But what's more important is our company goal is sustainability transformation. And we've, as I said in the beginning, sustainability for us means climate, social, and governance as well. So it's not only about climate. Why do we choose the economy of the common good? Because our vision is to change the society for the benefit of the planet and the people. And our belief is that companies play a major role in this change, or can play a major role. And the ECG offers an alternative to solemnly being a profitable orientated practice. And we also use it as, a kind of optimizing management tool, because you have this very good matrix where you can move along and learn, or like look at it and see at which points you need to improve and at which points you are very good. And this is also helping to improve the company and not forget about stuff. We started that, or we first came in contact in 2019 with the ECG, and we started our first report was about the financial or fiscal year of 2020. And we only, if you remember, we only went to the market in 2020, so we couldn't do it any earlier, actually. So over the first year, we made this report, which was kind of hard for a startup, because the matrix wasn't supposed to be for startups at that point, but that improved, actually. And the renewal of this balance sheet we just did last year, and that was a lot easier. And we saw that the first balancing was more effort, and doing it again and again will be way easier. And at the same time, the company is profiting from this balancing. So I highly recommend that, actually. Everywhere where I go, I talk about that. It actually helps the company. And we are proud to be a reference company for the Economy of the Common Good label we just introduced this year. And here's one implementation of it on our website, where we did this already in February, where we gave people the chance to make it easily accessible, the whole report, and also on flyers and stuff, so that people can actually look at it. Yeah, some internal and external benefits we see from it is that gives you a regular review of your processes and structures. It's an identification of the development opportunities in your company, and it's a very good guideline for decision making, which are based on values instead of profit alone. And it's actually a great network of like-minded businesses. And externally, I talked about transparency, but also it gives you a lot of credibility, because you're talking about it or you're making it public. And it's a good reference for detailed information about your company as well. So there are really external benefits of doing that. Yeah, and with that, I'm done. And I hope for a lot of questions.
Thank you so much, Alma. That was a really quick run through your company. So if you have any questions, please raise your hands or write them into the chat. Just a brief reminder, please ask your questions in English. And if you need help with that, you could consult DeepL for translation help. I'm sure there are questions for Alma, aren't there? So if there are no questions, then I guess I will start asking you questions. So was it you mentioned that creating the first balance sheet was a bit tricky because you had just started being in business. So how many people did you need to get involved, or did you actually need less people because there wasn't that much to be reported on?
Actually, in that sense, it was easier because my co-founder, Nico, and one person working for us could, like, we three people wrote the first report because we knew all the data. What made it difficult was that at some points you need to report how you did it the last 5 or 7 years. And we couldn't answer that because we only started 1 year ago. So that was hard. But yeah, getting the information together was easy, but then also the founders and CEOs of a company don't have that much free time, unfortunately. So sometimes it's harder to get the time out of your day to actually write about what you did. And that got easier in the second report because more people, like in WEtell, a lot of people are involved in the economy of the common good and how to profit from it, or how to
benefit.
Benefit and further evolve on it. And that made it easier in the second run because more people could actually put some text in it.
Okay. Then we have plenty of questions in the chat, but how about Rachel from Winterthur, Switzerland?
Hello, thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering, you had a graph with yellow turning regions in Germany. Is this a forecast that how you would like to develop, or is that currently happening?
Oh, this is like the past.
Okay.
It's the run through, so it's the number of customers per 100,000 inhabitants in that region of Germany. So it actually shows that the darker the region gets, the more people are customers of WEtell. And in the end, we nearly reached every region in Germany, which makes it for us more important because it's not Freiburg based, which is a very green bubble, you could say. But there are like some parts of Germany that aren't that ecological based, I think. And all of them, like, eventually we could win customers over. So yeah, it's a look at the past more than at the future.
Okay, cool. So this gives hope that people are interested in such a product. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And now Rachel is from Switzerland, and there's a few questions. When do you come to Switzerland? When will you be available outside of Germany? So any forecast on that?
To be honest, the next move will be to have more product in Germany, because going to another market is very difficult because mobile communication is more, like in Switzerland, for example, there are basically 2 providers, as far as I know. So it's not so easy to go into the market, but we are thinking about it, but not next year, maybe in the next few years.
Okay, then Andrea, what would you like to ask?
Yes, thank you. Many thanks for the good overview and this interesting presentation. I was just wondering if before deciding to use the Common Good balance sheet, if you had previously considered other tools, certificates, verification systems from similar movements. And if you did consider them, why did you finally and eventually decided to use the Common Good balance sheet? Thank you.
I think it's actually the one we knew. I changed the slide because it's moving all the time. I think we knew it best, actually, and it's the most holistic one, in my opinion. We thought about becoming a B Corp company as well, for example, but as we're in the steward ownership, where a foundation has 1% of our company, it's kind of double. So this isn't really fitting for us. And they're like the German Sustainability Code Index, I think, or GDI also exists. I think we thought like the profit from economy of common good for us was the best one because we could actually learn a lot of stuff. And we decided to do that when we founded the company. And we thought that if we have this matrix and we look at everything on the matrix, we will be founding the company we are wishing for, like the best possible company we can found. And we are so convinced of this tool that we didn't like look in that much detail in the other tools.
Okay. And there's also the question, which of the themes of the matrix were most difficult for you to assess?
I think one thing we discussed actually with the external auditor was that as a startup, we gave out contracts to our employees which had a runtime. So they weren't, in Germany, it's very common that you have a working contract forever. But this like simulates a security that doesn't exist in a startup. Like in the very early stage, it's quite possible that you fail due to any reasons. And we didn't want to give people contracts that like suggested that they could stay with WEtell forever. And that gave us like lower points. And eventually we changed that. But I had kind of also a more moral discussion internally about, is that the right step? Because I don't want to be pretending something that we can't keep up as a company. That was one point I found difficult, and yeah, maybe like morally for me, it was the hardest one. I think a lot of stuff is quite straightforward in my opinion.
Okay, great to hear. Then there's a question here. How do you have more co-determination within your company, and how do you manage getting more people involved in important decisions?
That's not so hard, I think. First of all, we're working agile, so we are using Scrum as an organization tool for the work. And if you work with Scrum, the ideas and the workload for the next week is like bottom up. So the people tell the product owner, so the like higher up people, what needs to be done in the next weeks. So they are very involved. And for decision making, we just had like half a year of a project or time where we discussed that we make our the way our payment system internally, how much everyone gets paid. We made that transparent internally, and the decision was just basic democracy or consent orientated, because we wanted that everyone was okay with making their own payment transparent. And after that, we developed a new payment method, or like how every person earns. And I think it's easy to get the people involved if you actually want to, because they are engaged. They want to be involved in the company they are working, but you have to give them the chance. And so if the management is okay and wants to involve people, I think it's easy. You just have to do it.
Okay, so your recommendation is just do it. Cool.
A little bit, yeah.
So how have you integrated purpose with the economy for the common good, and have you been able to identify in which aspects of the balance sheet they are interrelated?
I think about the aspect. Which aspect are they correlating to? I mean, the financing is influenced by them, and also the ownership. So I don't know the numbers exactly, but also the governance of the company itself is influenced by it, because only people who are actually working in the company can make decisions. So there's no owner that doesn't work here and can decide stuff for the company. And there were many aspects where we put that in and said that we secure that can't be overwritten in the future, but I don't remember the numbers actually.
Okay, thank you. So here's another question. As a startup, how did you perceive the costs of consultancy, audit, and membership?
Membership isn't really big cost. I think, like, my opinion is it's too low. We should pay more for the membership. That would enable the economy of the common good to make more good stuff. So we would be willing to pay a higher membership fee. The auditing, I think it's very fair. It's not expensive, and there obviously needs to be a fee because it's work. So I don't know. I think it's in correlation to our revenue, right? And it's
The number of people working there also, I believe.
yeah, but it's very fair. I think like the amount of time the auditors spend on us, it's well worth. And we also got a lot of tips from him. So I mean, if I get external coaching for any kind of internal development, I pay a lot more and I don't get the certificate. So I don't know. I think it's very fair and rather cheap, if you want to say it like this. So I would be willing to pay more for both because I really think it's worth it. But the only thing is that for a startup, it might be a good thing to implement for the very first balancing to make it cheaper in relation to the other ones, because like I know that in the first time we were like, okay, we actually have to pay for this, but now it's like it's not a big cost factor for what you're getting.
Okay, and did you use a consultant?
No, I think we didn't have to.
Okay,
Actually.
no, you don't have to. It was just a question if you used one, and if yes,
No.
how you would have perceived that cost. Okay, now next question. I hope we still make it through the questions. The mobile sector is rather competitive. How do you address potential customers and how do you succeed while avoiding predatory marketing strategies?
Very good question. You can have a whole talk about this. First of all, stay true to your values. We want to change the mobile communication market. So our biggest success wouldn't be that we are the biggest ones, but that everyone changes. So if other companies change, we welcome that. That makes it easier. And then people and customers, they feel our authenticity. So they actually believe what we are doing because they can see that we actually mean it. So we have a lot lower budget for marketing and advertising because people talk about us. The main, like I think 30% of our customers come from other people saying, go to WEtell, they have the best service, they're very sustainable, and they also take care of your data. And that makes us more successful. And then if they have the first contact with our service, they're completely overwhelmed how nice these people are. And I think that's also part of the success. And other companies could do that and we would welcome it, but it would cost them money and they are just not doing it.
Okay. And now there's a question about your influence on the sustainability of the technical infrastructure and if you actually have any influence on that.
Yes and no. I mean, it's not our infrastructure. We use the network of Vodafone, but we are talking to the sustainability managers of Vodafone how they can become more sustainable sooner. So there is some influence, but yeah, we're aiming for more influence still. So it's, yeah, I think it's limited actually.
Okay. I'm terribly sorry. There are more and more questions popping in and we're already over the time, but maybe we could send those questions to you or you could still respond to them in the chat. That would be great if you could do that.
Yeah, I will respond in the chat. And if I don't get through, then you can send me the rest via email. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Alma, for being with us. As you see, it's been great pleasure for everyone to have you here and to listen to you. And yeah, I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.